What is up, board members of the Benerit Group? I am just a simple new type, and in this episode, we are concluding our coverage of Mobile Suit Gundam Witch from Mercury. Last time, the school was attacked again. Elan 5 told Noria to run away with him, but she was shot down. Outside of the front, Shadiq and Guel fought as Team Jeter found out where Shadiq was hiding Sarius. On Earth, Prospera tricked Myorine as she forced the rebels' hand and caused the negotiations to end short. This time, we will see Quiet Zero in action. The Space Assembly League will whip out a secret weapon, and Prospera will unleash the Fighting Death Horrors. So let's get into this. The school is in disarray. Is this the futuristic equivalent of a school shooting? The Benerit Group does like to spin domestic terrorism. Suletta is handing out towels to those in need. Cecilia mentions to her that she has changed. Petra seems to be alive, but she is in critical condition. Myorine is still blaming herself for all the destruction on Earth. At least this time, they have Shadiq as a prisoner. She goes to question him. Shadiq asks her to go easy on the Grassley girls, as he was the mastermind behind everything. He has been working with the Space Assembly League. He hesitates to answer for how long. I assume it was when he realized he lost any chance to be with Myorine. Get over it, dude. Back at school, Suletta and Myorine froze a bunch of tomatoes which survived the attack. Earthhouse begins handing them out to the students when Palmeria and Gustan of the Space Assembly League ask for Suletta's help. The Pale Grandmas become whistleblowers and tell the world of Quiet Zero. You're supposed to keep quiet about that. Now it is Loud Zero. Space Assembly League gets approval to investigate the Benerit Group with the intention of breaking it up. Pale is no longer on their side and Myorine is unsure of their next move. They get into contact with Sarius. Now that he is free of Shadiq, he suggests that they place all blame on Grassley House and she wash her hands of this. Sarius is willing to go down to keep the system running as is, but Myorine says that she is tired of others taking the fall for her. Palmeria explains to Suletta and us the viewer what Quiet Zero is. It creates a data storm that can take control of anything using Permit. Yes, Permit is used for gun format technologies, but Permit also exists in almost everything, including the construction of fronts. This would allow Prospera to hack almost anything and have control. They want Suletta to convince Prospera, but she knows it will do nothing. She tells everyone that she is a Repli child and that her sister Edict is the one that her mother truly loves. She fell ill, and her mother essentially uploaded Eddie into the data storm, making Ariel function as Eddie's body. Gustan says, okay, if you can't negotiate with her, what if we give you a Gundam and you punch her? Palmeria thinks that this Gundam is too much as Suletta won't be protected from the data storm. The reason that Suletta could handle Ariel and high Permit scores in the first place is that it wasn't her, but rather Eddie who was taking on the burden. This new Gundam would certainly feed off of her, but she realizes that she has to do what must be done, even if it gets them nowhere. She wants to see the Gundam. Ariel connects to a Quiet Zero interface as the Gundam will be the one controlling the device. The Space Assembly League notices Quiet Zero approaching them. Gun nodes launch from the device. The XGF-E3 gun node, unlike the Gundolvas, are mobile suit type gunned bits and are unmanned. These were built alongside Quiet Zero by Prospera and will operate with Ariel's override mode. All these units can communicate to one another and share tactical data. They can also be used to expand the data storm. They are Wi-Fi extenders for the data storm, essentially. It is equipped with a beam rev rifle and a beam blade. The Space Assembly League launched the Kargor. The UOR-108 Kargor is a general-purpose cannon fodder mobile suit operated by the Space Assembly League. It is equipped with a beam rifle, a shield, and a missile launcher. The two forces begin fighting. Kargor pilots realize that they are unmanned. Quiet Zero expands the data storm. Everyone inside of it is now controlled by the device. They override and have the Space Assembly League kill each other. The students are informed of the destruction of the Space Assembly League fleet. Suletta and the gang are heading out with Palmeria and Gustan. Elan 5 wants to join them. She agrees if he tells her everything he knows about Elan 4. Meanwhile, Lauda blames Myorine for Petra's near-death and Guel's change. He looks up at the Schwarzetta. Everyone is prepping to head towards Quiet Zero. Choo-Choo borrows the demi-barding from Cecilia, but her insurance premiums are quite high. They leave Tico and the rest of the livestock for another house to look after. Quiet Zero has stopped operation. Cathedra and the Benerit Group members meet to see what they could do. Suletta wants to meet with Myorine and have a heart-to-heart talk, but Guel doesn't want to allow her. He says that they should duel. If he wins, she will give up on Miorine. She agrees. Is the school even capable of holding a duel right now? Most of the school is destroyed, so... Oh, a fencing duel. I didn't see that coming. Did they set up that these two could fence? This is kind of out of nowhere. Is it just because of a duel? Is it a reference to Amuro and Char? I don't get it. Anyways, Suletta wins the duel fast. Not that there was any emotional weight. Guel seems to be over this as well because he says, "Congrats, you are the holder now, bye." Suletta tells Miorine that she is going to stop Quiet Zero and talk to Mom and Eddie. She still can't handle that her decisions got people killed. Suletta relates to her by talking about that one guy she killed by making tomato sauce, but she did it to protect the people she cares about. The walking pair of legs gets up and opens the door. Wow, they really linger on those legs. She convinces Miorine to join them. Quiet Zero is currently at the L4 point heading towards Plant Quetta. Suletta has a special breed of tomato that was originally Miorine's mother's. They check the genetic code to find a message saying that she will be with Miorine. Miorine gets into Calibarn Gundam. The X-EX01 Gundam Calibarn is a prototype Gundam developed by the Vanitas Institute. We have seen the Ilfrith prototype and its variants, but this does things a little differently. The Ilfrith series minimizes impact on the human body when increasing a permit score. The Calibarn is all about performance, so it takes a toll on the pilot's body. Belmeria referred to this Gundam as a monster, and there are no guarantees on the pilot's life, even at low permit scores. This is considered the most cursed Gundam. Its main weapons is the variable rod rifle. On the back of the rifle are 4 thrusters, and the Calibarn can ride this. If you haven't figured this out, it is a freaking witch's broom. They're going all in on the witch motif. Other weapons include beam Vulcans, a beam saber, and a shell unit. It will later be upgraded with Ariel's Escutcheon, along with its 11-bit staves. Like Ariel's Escutcheon, it has the high maneuverability mode and the bit on form, or charging mode. I wish they gave this Gundam a witch's hat. I'm sure there's a GUNPLA build out there. They activate the Gundam and go to permit score 3. She begins struggling like every other witch now that she doesn't have Ariel to protect her. They increase to permit score 4. She is able to make it to 5. Before heading out, Delling Rembrandt wakes up from his coma. Miorine visits him, though he is still somewhat unresponsive. The team heads out. Guel, Felsi, and Roji and his Death Haro also join the team. Quiet Zero begins expanding its data storm. Calibarn enters into it. Only Gundams can enter, and conveniently making Suletta the only option, except for the modifications on the dimming barding that allows it, but let's not talk about that. Prospera notices that it is Suletta. She begins fighting the gun nodes. Outside of the data storm, Gundam Shorzeta makes its appearance. It is Lauda. Stupid Lauda. He begins fighting Guel in his Garibaldi. Edic tells Suletta that she shouldn't have come here. Outside, Lauda is taking all of his frustrations out on Guel. Felsi goes to help Guel, while Nika and Chuchu head out in the dimming barding. Permit has been added to the dimming barding to allow them to enter the data storm. The Gundam Shorzeta's sword turns into gun bits. Okay, that's kinda cool. Lauda attacks like a madman. He takes off Guel's antenna as though it was a duel. It shows you where Lauda's head is at compared to Guel, who has done a lot of growing. The Space Assembly League gets a call from Delling Rembrandt, who wants to gather everyone for an emergency meeting. Suletta won't allow them to kill just to bring back Eddie. Eddie attempts to kill the Demi Trainer when a data interference occurs. Chuchu is carrying Miorine and the others in a cargo hold. They are blitzing towards Quiet Zero. Prospera cocks her gun and says, "Time to kill some children." The team consists of Kanaji, Belmeria, Miorine, Elan 5, Chuchu, and Martin. Chuchu opens the door on Quiet Zero to find Death Haros. Guel and Lauda continue fighting. The two go in with their beam sabers, but Guel turns his off. Lauda stabs through the Garibaldi. Did you know this episode aired on June 25th, which is National Fatherless Children's Day in Japan? Well, happy Fatherless Children's Day, Guel. And you too, Lauda. Felsi comes in and shoots spooge all over the Garibaldi to prevent it from exploding. She calls the two idiots. Yeah, that was an expensive outburst. Those Gundam repairs aren't cheap. The away team uses a flashbang on the Death Haros and temporarily deactivates them. They try to use emergency codes to deactivate Quiet Zero, but Prospera comes in with more Death Haros. She changed the codes, of course. Miorine tries to go into the codebase to see if she could bypass authentication. Local authentication? Non-cloud-based authentication in the future? Never mind. Ignore it. Elan 5 and Belmeria take on the Death Haros. Just as one is about to shoot Miorine, Elan 5 comes in with the play of the game and shoots Prospera right in her Char helmet. While this is going on, Myorine stumbles onto a prompt in the codebase that asks, "How are the tomatoes?" Now, Myorine's mother, Notret, was said to be the original creator of Quiet Zero, which started out as a botanical engineering project. Of course, Delling handled this after her death and eventually handed it over to Prospera. Myorine remembers back to Suletta telling her about the message in the tomato's genetic code. She types into the prompt the genetic code of Notret's tomatoes, and this gives Myorine full access to Quiet Zero. Myorine's mother effectively placed a backdoor into the system, knowing this would happen one day. This allows them full access to Quiet Zero, and they stop all operations. The Death Harrows stop as well. It seems that they have stopped Quiet Zero. Delling contacts the Space Assembly League and says that they should stand down now that it has been deactivated. But the SAL says, nah, actually we're kinda tired of corporations running things. So we are going to just fire a massive weapon at the L3 point, and we'll pick up the pieces once it's all over. The Space Assembly League has a secret solar ray type weapon hidden up their sleeves. Oh snap, it wouldn't be a Gundam AU if a weapon of mass destruction doesn't come out of nowhere, I guess. Looking at you, Seed, Eddie can sense something big coming. The weapon is fired. Eddie uses Ariel and the gun nodes to shield Quiet Zero, mainly to protect Prospera. They seem to have saved the device, but once the dust settles, Suletta notices that Eddie and Ariel are destroyed. Suletta wakes up and instantly wants to go find Eddie. Ruji tells her that the ILTS, or Interplanetary Laser Transmission System, fired at a max output. This would leave them some time before they could fire again. Prospera gets up after getting shot. I guess her helmet's good for something. Ariel and Eddie seem to be dead in the water as the Gundam isn't showing any signs. SAL forces are heading their way. Suletta launches in the Calibarn and Guel in Felsi's Delanza. She takes what remains of Ariel and brings it to Quiet Zero. Prospera wants her to connect her back to Quiet Zero, but Suletta refuses. She tells her daughter that she was kinda putting on a front and that her body is giving out, and she has very little time before the inevitable. All she wants is for Eddie to have a body and a place to live. But she says she is wrong, because Eddie doesn't want her to die at her expense. So Suletta says, I'll try it. She tries to max out her permit score, which I believe is permit score 9. When she does, she sees Elan 4 as a permit ghost. They apologize to one another, and Elan 4 helps her create her own data storm. She is able to reactivate Ariel. Eddie gives Suletta Ariel's bits. This adds the escutcheon to the Calibarn. Eddie allows Suletta to hijack communications to allow Myorine to speak to SAL. Throughout the last half of this season, Myorine has been calling in favors from her fellow board members. She tells the Space Assembly League and everyone that the Benerit Group has decided to merge with the Earth companies and liquidate all its assets. This could only be done with the head of the three families signing off on it. Of course, Myorine has Guel's signature for Jetur, but she also got Shadiq and Elan Prime to sign off on it as well. This was the favor Myorine asked of Shadiq. Also, thanks to Sarius, she also states that Grassley Defense is now on record of conspiring with SAL. The Pale Grandmas are mad at how this could happen. Elan says, it was me. They gave me money and a nice cushy job if I send it over to her. I was barely in the show. It was all about my clones. I'm getting paid, bitches. Elan Prime out. Because of this, Donna Fold's job on Earth is finally done. Even with all of this, it doesn't matter to SAL, as they are almost ready to fire the ILTS system once again. Suletta will stop it on her own. She creates a giant data storm that apparently reaches from the L4 point to the L1 point. She's extending 5G coverage like crazy. This allows Suletta to take control of all the Gundams on board the ship, which includes Swarzetta, Calibarn, Ferrict, and Ariel. I guess Elan 5 brought Ferrict with him? This extends the range, allowing Suletta to override the ILTS. While in the data storm, Prospera is able to see her husband Nadine and Cardo Nebo as permit ghosts. Eddie tells her mother that she wants to be by Suletta's side. The permit breaks down at the particle level, and the Gundams and Quiet Zero dissolve. Suletta and her keychain are drifting out into space after the Gundam disappeared. The keychain lights up. The demi-barding with Myorine on board goes to save her. Add Stella 125. Over the past 3 years, Nika was in prison for helping Earth and the Shadiq faction. Earth House meets up with her. She received a mechanic's certificate which allows her to work while finishing up school. I can't imagine she was allowed back to Astacassia though, right? After being Cecilia's simp, Ruji finally learns to stand up for himself. Meanwhile, Elan 5 goes to find all the places on Earth that Noria drew in her notebook. Myorine still has a lot of work to do mending the wounds she created on Earth 3 years ago. She heads out to meet with Suletta and Prospera, who is now in a wheelchair, after her legs finally gave out from too much permet. Suletta has finally become a teacher like she always wanted. On Myorine's luggage is the keychain. It begins talking. Eddie's consciousness now exists in this charm. Imagine being powered by a high-end operating system in a mobile suit and then being transferred to something with the compute power of a Raspberry Pi. Kill me! Suletta helps Myorine up, showing the two wearing rings. So they are married, even if the execs over at Sunrise are really trying to downplay that hard. They're just two really good roommates. And that will conclude Mobile Suit Gundam, The Witch from Mercury. I really liked the themes in this show, but man, it needed more focus or more episodes. Was this a show about a school of Gundam pilots? A show about corporate overreach within the government? Or is this about taboo technology that everyone hates but also loves? Well, they're all wrong. It turns out it's a show about a mother and a daughter, but it needed to focus on one of these aspects instead of jumping around in between these ideas. I believe each of these themes have potential to be its own Gundam show. Adstella is a relatively new universe with not too much to work with, but our next Witch from Mercury adventure will be Vanitas Heart. This takes place in AS-106, 5 years after the Vanitas incident, where we see the hatred for Gundams and Earth grow. But that will do it for now, new types. Remember, if you have to put your sister in something, maybe give her something with a camera and access to the internet. Peace.